Have you ever stopped to wonder if you're praying the right way? It's a question a lot of us have. Today, we're going to dive into that, drawing on some really profound wisdom from the 16th century classic, The Dark Knight. We're talking about a journey, one that moves from the familiar, sensory world we all know into the very depths of our own spirit. So here's the big question we're tackling. Where and how should we pray to get that really deep connection? It's about moving beyond just, saying the words and finding something truly genuine. We're going to uncover what helps us on this path and, maybe even more importantly, what might secretly be holding us back. All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about the aids on the path, the stuff that helps us get started. Then we'll see how those very things can become a danger of delight. After that, we'll explore the idea of 3 holy places, figure out when prayer goes wrong, and finally find our way to the true interior temple. Okay, so every journey has to start somewhere, right? For a lot of us, the spiritual path kicks off with our senses. Think about that feeling of awe in a beautiful cathedral, the comfort you get from a secret image, or how powerful music can just stir your soul. These are the first tools, the aids that help lift us out of our day-to-day life. And this is where we see the real core of the journey laid out. See, the beginner's path uses physical things, images, music, special places, to help us let go of worldly attachments. But the advanced path, it asks for something more. It asks us to let go of even those beautiful things, to find what's called interior recollection, a direct line, no static, no intermediaries. I just love this analogy from the text. It's so brilliant. It's like when you need to take something away from a toddler. What do? You give them a new toy to play with, right? Not to trick them, but to comfort them. Well, that's exactly what these early devotional aids are. They're like that new toy, helping us gently loosen our grip on the world without that feeling of emptiness. But, and this is a huge but, here comes the twist. Those very things that helped us so much at the beginning, they can actually become the things that hold us back. What was once a helping hand can become a chain. This is the whole paradox of what the text calls the danger of delight. So the key idea here is something called sensible gratification. Now, this isn't a bad thing. It's that genuine pleasure we get from beautiful music or the smell of incense or just being in our favorite quiet spot to pray. It feels great, right? But the danger is when we start to mistake that good feeling for the real connection itself. And when we get hooked on that feeling, the problems start to pile up. We start thinking, oh, I can only really pray in this one specific place. We find ourselves chasing that spiritual high, bouncing from one experience to another. We mistake that rush of emotion for real devotion. And, this is the big one, we get stuck, unable to find that connection that's supposed to be happening inside of us. Now, this doesn't mean that places are totally meaningless. Not at all. In fact, the text points out 3 specific kinds of holy places. But what makes them holy is a whole different ballgame from that simple sensory pleasure we were just talking about. First up, you have places of just stunning natural beauty, the kind of landscape that just naturally makes your heart look up. Then you have the total opposite, places of mortification, like a stark desert or a lonely cave, places saints chose because they had 0 sensory appeal, forcing the spirit to turn inward. And finally, there are divinely chosen spots, like Mount Sinai, places God himself set apart for a special purpose. And this whole danger of getting too attached, it doesn't just apply to places or objects. It can creep into the very act of prayer itself. This is when our focus shifts from why we're praying to how we're praying, and our practice turns into a rigid ritual instead of a living relationship. This quote from the text just hits you, doesn't it? It says that when we get obsessed with the perfect formula, the exact right words, the right number of repetitions, our trust slowly starts to shift. We stop putting our confidence in God and start putting it in our own ability to perform the ritual perfectly. And that's a slippery slope towards superstition. The author gets really specific here, warning against this idea that a prayer only counts if you say it a certain number of times or at exactly the right hour. That kind of thinking turns prayer into a cosmic vending machine, Like if you just put in the right coins, in the right order, you're guaranteed to get what you want. It totally misses the whole point of it being a relationship. So if we're supposed to move beyond all these attachments, beyond the beautiful places and the rigid rituals, where are we supposed to go? Well, the answer, the ultimate destination of this whole spiritual climb is inward. This right here, This is the goal of the whole journey. The text is pointing to a massive truth. The most holy place isn't a building made of stone or a gorgeous landscape. It's the human soul itself. The most sacred space you will ever find is already right here, inside you. And the state we're all aiming for is this interior recollection. Just look at that powerful phrase from the text, spiritual nakedness. Wow. It means stripping away everything else we rely on, the sights, the sounds, the good feelings, the formulas, until it's just your spirit, pure and simple, in communion with God. So this is what the practice boils down to, learning to enter the concealment of our inner room. It means praying simply, with a clear conscience, and a will that is focused completely on God, not on all the tools we're using to try and find Him. That is the heart of true prayer. And all of this leaves us with a really important question we have to ask ourselves. Think about your own spiritual practices, the things you do, the places you go. Are they a bridge helping you cross over into that deeper inner connection? Or have they become a barrier, a comfortable wall that's actually stopping you from making that final, most important journey inward?